So how does the Shaft soundtrack get made without Isaac Hayes? Well, let me tell you. This past Tuesday, I had a chance to go to an advanced screening of the new Shaft movie. It's the third installment of the franchise. And let me tell you, the movie is excellent. It's hilarious. It's really like a laugh out loud comedy, action comedy, that'll have you cracking up the whole time. Like you'll laugh, you'll have a good time. There's a lot of nostalgia. It's great. And I really left the movie, feeling great about the film. But there's one thing that will be noticeably absent from the film, and most importantly, the soundtrack that came out today, June 7th. That is the iconic Oscar award-winning theme written and performed by my father, Isaac Hayes. Now, Shaft, the original Shaft soundtrack came out in 1971, and it changed the landscape of motion picture soundtracks forever, really. Not only did it win an Academy Award, the first by an African-American composer, and 2 Grammys, it ushered in a wave of black motion picture soundtracks like Superfly, The Mac, Trouble Man, which elevated the films to another level of notoriety by using great original music to market and promote those films. That's what Shaft did. It made the entire franchise iconic because of the soundtrack. The problem is that the 2019 Shaft soundtrack, released through WaterTower Music / Warner Brothers Pictures, is nothing short of a disaster. It's terrible, guys. Terrible. In the summer of 2017, I received a call from the producer of the new Shaft film, John Davis, Aaron Scully, the executive VP of music for New Line Cinema, and the director, Tim Story. Now, as manager of my father's estate, I made everyone aware that my family owns hundreds of unreleased Isaac Hayes masters that could be used for the new Shaft film, but most importantly, the soundtrack, including the master to the 2000 Samuel L. Jackson starring John Singleton directed movie. On the call, I expressed interest in having the estate participate in the creation of the new Shaft soundtrack. I learned that decision would be up to Aaron Scully and New Line Cinema. After we hung up, I felt very confident that the studio and the estate would be able to work together to create a dope, contemporary Shaft soundtrack. It was a no-brainer in my opinion. Unreleased Isaac Hayes masters to be made into new records for a Shaft soundtrack 2019, this would be like genius marketing and a great way to honor and continue Isaac's musical legacy. To provide some context into making such a bold attempt on my part, I let them know that Isaac Hayes samples have been a part of 5 multi-platinum and gold records over the past 5 years. Songs like Here by Alessia Cara, 6 Inch by Beyonce, 30 Hours by Kanye West, Transportin' by Kodak Black. They're all built on Isaac Hayes samples. Even today, the #1 adult R&B song for the 4th week in a row is You by Roc Nation artist Nicole Buss, featuring another Isaac Hayes sample. There was also expressed interest from Def Jam, Motown, L.A. Reid's Hitco, Atlantic Records, and Roc Nation about partnering with our label, Hot Buttered Soul Recordings, which I created to house all these masters to produce and distribute the soundtrack. But after numerous attempts at creating something epic and unique, we were left with no seat at the table. New Line and WaterTower failed this movie. The legacy of Shaft, Isaac Hayes, and the fans of black motion picture soundtracks. The soundtrack released today is nothing more than previously recorded songs licensed for the film and the score. No new original songs except for 1 or 2 remixes and the Quavo recorded Too Much Shaft, which doesn't even sound finished or mixed by the studio. Go listen if you haven't heard it. Take a listen. It doesn't have one Isaac Hayes record. Think about that. They put a James Brown song on the Shaft soundtrack, but no Isaac Hayes records. The studio's demand for profit and insistence that they distribute the soundtrack outweighed my cautions and warnings of immediate criticism by black music fans. The same fans that wait with anticipation for new songs that merge their memories with movies. Songs on soundtracks like films from The Bodyguard, Boomerang, Above the Rim, the original Shaft, and most recently Black Panther. I wanted to write this letter and create this mini podcast to let the fans of Isaac Hayes and the Shaft films know I did all I could to create something authentic and true to the Shaft brand as my father would. I'd ask in the future that New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers Pictures, and WaterTower Music hire or listen to the African American culture creators and personnel that understand what Black music means to films like Shaft. Respect the legacy of Isaac Hayes, who paved the way and heavily contributed to allowing the studio to continue to profit off the Shaft brand some 48 years later. The new Shaft film is great. The only thing missing is the iconic theme from Shaft. But I am confident that there will be another Shaft film someday, and those hi-hats, that signature wah-wah guitar, and those unforgettable Isaac Hayes lyrics will kick off another chapter in the saga of Shaft. And we will all dig it.